Like Tyson said, much like you just said earlier, Lee, he said, I'm doing it now, not for me. It's not about how great Mike is and how many more cars or boats he can buy. He said, I tried that, and that leads nowhere. That leads to depression and addiction. He said, now I'm doing it for the glory of others and the help of others. And he said, it's a totally different energy now. And you could feel it in Mike. And it was a real lesson, I think, for the younger generation of maybe what life's all about.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. It's nothing like giving. You know, as I have Haney's Harvest House, a mentoring program for young men, you know, giving them manhood principles, authentic manhood principles, and then allowing them to see the lives of other professionals, you know, and then they're doing community service, you know, helping the seniors. So it makes it's beautiful, man. We've united several of these young men. We call the program they're on this called Raising a Modern Day Knight. So we've had some of these boys, man, when they were like 6, 7 years old, we've taken them all the way up to 18, 19, 20. Me and my wife were recently out at one of the shopping plazas. And this young man walks up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Haney," and gave me a hug. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay. He said, "Mr. Haney, it's me, Michael." I said, "Michael?" He said, "Sir, you knighted me. I went through your whole program. You knighted me." We have a big 4-foot tall Excalibur sword.
Nice.
That we have a ceremony and we knight the guys. And he was one of them. He said, "Sir, I'm working in the city now, so I'm doing great. And I just want to say thank you for being part of my journey." And man, let me tell you something. I mean, if it was something to die to go to heaven for, then that was it, man. Wow. You know, and to have these young people to come up and to say to you what the impact you have in their life, that's what the whole journey is all about. That's what it's all about. That's the greatest of satisfaction there. And like Mike was saying, it's not about the glory of self or a new car, all of those kind of stuff. That stuff fades away. You know, only what we do to impact the world for good for humanity and to the honor and glory of God will last.
Yeah, it took me about 42, 43 years to figure that one out, but I finally got it. Once I got it,
you got it, man. You got it.
Once you get it, I went all in on it, and it just pays back 10, 100-fold in just great energy in your life. And great things happen to you when you're serving others. And it's the most valuable lesson I think anybody can learn, especially young men and young women can learn. Unfortunately, when you used to turn on MTV, I guess nowadays it's the Instagram, sometimes you see the opposite of that. You know, it's my jet and my car and my chain and then this and the that. And I think they get programmed that that's what it's all about. But then when you try that out, it takes 10 or 20 years, but you realize that that's not what it's all about. So it's important to try to put another message out there. And I know that's what you do, you know, with the Harvest House.
Yes, that's exactly what we do. You know, we have other men and other women come in, they talk, they share their journey. You know, one of my friends, he left home when he was like 15 years old. He became one of the first African-American carpet manufacturers in the United States. He went to college with no money. He said some of the guys who ran numbers raised a bunch of money and put it in a bag and put him on the bus, got him a ticket and sent him down to southern Mississippi, stand in the dormitory, and all of a sudden the overseer said, "Son, how are you here? You're not even enrolled. You stand in the dormitory." And he says to the person over it, I don't know. I don't have anywhere to go. They said, "Well, listen, you need to go see whoever the lady was. I can't think of her name." And so he said he went to see her, and she said, "Well, wait here till we finish the meeting. Go back to your dorm." He said, "I don't have a dorm." He said, "I'm just here." She said, "Well, son, hold on for a second." Call him to the meeting. Anyway, she stopped what she was doing, met with him. Man, long story short, she made sure that young man finished his education free. He did community service, and now he's a millionaire. But she took time to care. But the guys who were running the numbers, you know, up in New York, right, up in the Harlem area, they had enough faith in him, put him on the bus, send him on. You know, here he is today, you know, one of my clients, one of my buddies I've known for 25 years now. But this just goes to show when you take out your time and pour into the life of somebody, particularly a young person, the dividends is huge. Now my buddy is doing greater things and helping other young people with endowments and all kinds of things because somebody cared enough for him. That's
Yeah.
what makes the journey worth it.
Yeah, if you change a child, you can change a community. And about 10 years ago, I got hooked up with an organization here in London, and I took on a 12-month mentorship process with a 9-year-old boy here with, they called it behavioral difficulties. He was struggling, his single mom, and, she had been in and out of prison. And all I did was go spend time with him every Saturday. And he just craved being around a role model. And I'll be honest, we didn't do anything in particular, but we spent time together. So we built things and we learned things, and just being around me just brought everything up, his confidence up, and it was an incredible experience for me and for him. And it makes me already thinking, how can we do more of that in our communities, and how can we just give these young men a little something? It literally changed the course of their life.
Yeah. You're so right about that, Brian. And that alone is going to make all the difference in the life of this young man. He'll never forget that. And we as men have to be proactive in our communities. We have to be gatekeepers. We can't mind our own business. God didn't put us here to mind our own business. He put us here to impact the world and be gatekeepers of the communities, gatekeepers of our families. Where there is not a man present in the home, then we need to fill that gap, and we need to give structure to these young men. I mean, what you see happening in society with our young people is the lack of the presence of a godly man. Now, everything walking with two legs is not a man. When I say a man, I mean a real man that have the principles of authentic manhood. There's a lot of men out there that's terrible for kids, terrible for them to be around. They have no idea why they're here anyway. They're not men on a mission. And any man on a mission that don't have Christ as the head of his mission, he's on a mission impossible, because it's not going to work. So it's important to have the right type of men impacting the lives of young boys. I said in one of my Facebook messages probably about a couple of weeks ago, I do not want it to be said that I spent my life on the golf course chasing a friggin' little ball, or on the boat riding up and down the water catching fish, while there's a lot of young men out there that need to be caught, that need to be saved, that need to have a conversation. I'd rather spend my life pouring into the life of another young man instead of dying from diabetes and having to set my butt and rotting away from luxuries. That's what happened to a lot of so-called men. And at the end of the day, we will all have to give an account of what we did with our life. What was our journey all about? Did we just mind our own business and just take care of us? Or did we impact the world for good? Did we honor God by making the world a better place? Did we influence in the right way? That's what the journey is all about.